Hello and welcome to the Stronger, Leaner, Lighter show. I'm your host, Sally Thibault. Today we're talking a controversial topic for some, why intuitive eating doesn't work in 2021. I can't wait to share this with you. I hope wherever you are, you're warm today. Very blustery and breezy here on the Gold Coast. We've had our heaters on most of the day. I've got a big show for you today, and something that's really quite passionate and close to my heart, and that's the concept of intuitive eating, and especially when it comes to the reason that I believe intuitive eating doesn't work in 2021, especially when it comes to releasing visceral fat, and we've talked about that a lot on this show, and the reason why you need to do something different and what will work in that time. So I want to quickly share with you a little bit of the story of intuitive eating. For me, I began practicing intuitive eating, I realized today, in 1983. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm still the type of person that thinks 1990 was last year. And I realized it was 38 years ago. And the reason I started practicing it, or I created the concept for myself, was I had a very disordered way of eating. In those days, I was working in the fitness industry. I was teaching up to 4 aerobic classes a day, plus doing weights, plus running. And I would eat nothing but skinless chicken breasts and broccoli and cottage cheese. That's what we lived on. In those days, it was very much about low fat. That's what we were all about. And of course, now, 30 something years later, we realize that was just such a disordered way of eating. And today's show, I'm going to show you why, number one, the concept of intuitive eating has been hijacked, and number two, why it doesn't work in 2021. The reason why it has been hijacked to me is that people do not understand the true essence of what intuitive eating really is. As I said, I began this practice back in 1983, a long time before many of these people who are now talking about this were even born. And the whole concept of intuitive eating is very spiritual. The true essence is that you listen to the intuitive sense that wants you to fuel your body with the highest quality foods, because that's the job of your intuition. What's happened is that many people talk about intuitive eating and then on the other hand say this is not about weight loss and this is all about body acceptance. Well, it is about weight loss. I'm going to put this right out there, because if you truly trust your intuition never lets you down. It never lets you down. It always keeps you safe. That's what your intuition is all about. It's about keeping you safe. And it's guiding the choices that are right for you. Let me ask you this question. How many times have you trusted your intuition and known it was right for you? And yet the way it's kind of presented now is that it's all about just eat whatever you want. That's not what it's all about. Because it's about understanding for you personally, you as an individual, you as a wise woman, you as a sovereign being, what's the right food you need to fuel your body. And the problem with it is that a lot of the teaching about intuitive eating is with it, that's part's forgotten. That it's somehow about letting your body eat anything you want and eventually it settles down. Yes, that's part of it, but there's the 4 aspects to intuitive eating, and one of those is acknowledging how certain foods make you feel. And that's the part I believe most people are missing. But teaching intuitive eating in its purest sense was fine up until 2019. But as we know, in March 2020, everything changed. Everything changed. Everything about fitness and nutrition and understanding what's good for us changed. And I'm going to share with you in a minute why. I'm just going to pop up the comments. Hello, Sally Ann. Oh, from the beach. Oh, how lovely. How lovely. Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you. Freezing cold today, but doing well. Freezing cold's relative, isn't it? Marie, hello. Exactly, Marie. It never lets you down. It keeps you safe. But when people talk about, I'm practicing intuitive eating, so I'm allowed to eat anything I want, that's not the point. The point of intuitive eating is to let go of the rules and the dogma that weren't made for you, that are not aligned to you, because we kind of get hung up on following a certain practice, like, whether that be keto or paleo or low fat or high fat or vegan or vegetarian. There's no right one size fits all model. It's what works for you. That's the key. And that's what intuitive eating is all about. It's understanding what works for you. It's getting out of the dogma of listening to somebody else. And as I said, I see this fight a lot on social media, where a lot of these so-called professionals who weren't even born in 1983, let me tell you, talk about this as it's not about dieting. No, it's not, but it is about weight release. I'm going to share that with you why in a minute. So what happened in 2020? Well, we all know what happened in 2020. Life became uncertain. Fear became the narrative, and suddenly our sense of who we are, how to plan and predict the outcomes of our life changed. And what's worse is it's continued on, and it's getting worse. The narrative is getting worse. The media is getting worse. The cases are getting worse. And so this constant thing, and I know I'm talking to a lot of people right now who were very direct in what they were going to do and how they were going to handle us, are wavering at the moment because they feel like they're being attacked and judged. And so the thing is about your intuition is sometimes we can have challenges in discerning between intuition and fear. And how, has this ever happened to you, really? That you do have that hard time discerning. Let me know. You go, okay, well, am I listening to my intuition? And there's a party that goes, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Does it feel right? And then later on you go, geez, I should have just listened to my intuition because it was telling me. But because the fear about our beliefs about who we are take over. So when all this is going on right now, man, it's hard to, you're probably feeling the same. It's hard to know what's right. It's hard to know if I'm trusting my gut, if I'm trusting my intuition, am I right? Because the narrative that's being fed to you, and I just listened to a story from a girl who was talking about something, and I thought, oh, I don't know. It's like, so the intuition part of us can be really challenging, especially if you're on your own, especially if you don't have anybody to talk to. And this is what happens, because when things are uncertain, our intuition, in order to help us deal with uncertainty, is hijacked by our brain's desire to keep you safe. Remember, that's what's happening at the moment, right? We're all trying to, in whatever way we can, whatever side of the fence we're on, whatever's going on, we're all thinking, our brain is constantly thinking, okay, how do I remain safe in this? This is what I believe, but how do I remain safe? That's what your brain and your intuition is all about. But when things get overwhelming, and this is why the narrative of intuitive eating has been overtaken, because when things become overwhelming, your brain searches for ways to make you safe, and for the moment, it's like it gets overwhelmed. So your brain's going to look for things that make you feel safe. A boost of serotonin. Go, oh, right, okay, I can breathe for a minute. I can just stop for a minute. So what are the quick 5 serotonin boosting foods that we go for? Bread, cakes, alcohol, pasta, sugar. The top 5. Quick boost of serotonin, quick way for the body to digest certain foods, and we feel for a moment better. That's why last year in 2020, when we first went into lockdown, everybody baked cakes, bread. We looked at pastas. Quick serotonin things. Now, this is where the dilemma starts. So on the one hand, you're trying to trust your intuition. On the other hand, you've got the fear narrative. You're sitting in the middle of all of this and going, okay, oh, this is all getting too hard. What do I need to do in order to feel good, boost the serotonin, right? So you've got that. Okay, quick, I'm going to have, a muffin. I'm going to have a croissant. I'm going to have, something that's going to make me feel good. That's what the brain's looking for. The brain doesn't like you to make you feel uncomfortable, right? It's always going to guide you to do things that make you feel comfortable. That's why people come home and sit in front of the TV with a glass of wine. They just go, I can't deal with this anymore. It's a brain. It's a brain. That's what it does. It doesn't like you to be uncomfortable. Okay. So all this uncertainty and fear, I'm getting to a point here. All this uncertainty and fear leads us to experiencing low-grade stress and anxiety because it's just underlying. It's like if I turn the news on today, what are they going to say? Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, how many cases? Oh, what's going to lock down? Oh, it's like all the time. It's just, and of course, watching the news, even if you decide not to watch the news, it's still coming through your social media streams, right? It's like, oh God, it's this uncertainty and everybody walking around in masks and you can't quite see who they are. And I wanted to share something with you. I was talking to an Afghan returned soldier, Afghan veteran, on Saturday, and he was talking about how many of the Afghan vets are being triggered right now because when they were in Afghanistan and they were fighting the insurgents, many of them had their faces covered and you could only see their eyes. And he said it's really difficult for them at the moment because they're seeing all this. And, like when we were kids growing up, people who wore masks were bank robbers. Like it was 2 years ago, you couldn't go into a bank with a hoodie on or a helmet. But all of a sudden, all these masked people, so it's unnerving, it's really unnerving. So when that happens, uncertainty, fear leading to experiencing low-grade stress and anxiety, guess what happens? The body produces more cortisol because you're living in this constant state of fear and stress. So the body's pumping out the cortisol. So here's the dilemma, right? Then you add foods that are quick to digest but are full of simple carbohydrates. So on top of the increasing cortisol, which impacts on your weight, in particular your visceral fat, also impacts on your energy and your sleep patterns. And ta-da, we've got the perfect storm. High levels of cortisol and stress, low-grade anxiety, plus you're reaching for those serotonin inducing foods, and all of a sudden the messages are just are so confused. And that's why intuitive eating, and that's why that's been hijacked in 2020, because the messages are being mixed up, and it's not your fault. It's what your body naturally does to protect you. I'm just going to check some of the comments here. Hello, Katerina. Lovely to see you. G'day, possum. Love that. Damn. Yeah, right, damn. All right. So right now, it is really important that you are eating well and focusing on releasing or not impacting on your visceral fat. And I'm just going to find this slide. I want to bring this up for you. I shared this last week. This is why. An increase in visceral fat area by 10% or 10 centimeters is associated with 137% higher likelihood of ICU treatment and 132% higher likelihood of mechanical ventilation if you are diagnosed with COVID. Okay, that's the scary part. So it's our responsibility, right, to keep ourselves well. If you think a little bit of fat on your belly is not a big deal, well, it is. It's a very big deal. And being sovereign at the moment means taking responsibility for your health and not handing it over to someone else. So while last year was tough, this year's worse, in my opinion, because of the ongoing uncertainty, especially here in Australia. Now, as I said on the show 6 months ago, if we think we're not going to go into lockdowns in winter, we're poorly mistaken, because it's a virus. This thing is a virus, and we get viruses in wintertime. And so our virus is going to increase here. So your role in all of this, is to look at what I believe, what I now call conscious eating. And I'm going to share with you in a minute the 5 aspects of conscious eating, which include intuitive eating, but are not all of it. And I was standing in the kitchen about, 6 months ago, and I said to my husband, this intuitive eating thing just doesn't feel right anymore. I can't figure this out. It's like, got to be something more. It's got to be something more, because I was seeing clients finding it more increasingly difficult to understand it and adopt it. And it was like, I get it. And that's when, standing in the kitchen, came up with the word conscious eating. I'm going to share that with you in a minute. But before we move, quick shout out to our wonderful, wonderful sponsors, NAS Cosmetics. Please check them out. And in particular, check out their new facilitator program. But they brilliant products, absolutely love them. You know, we're talking about eating well and all that stuff, but really what you put on your skin is just as critical as what you put in your mouth. And in our, women, we put stuff on our skin sometimes without recognizing what it is. And again, if you want to find out more about the Stronger Leaner Lighter program that's starting soon, please reach out. I'll pop a link in the comments and have a chat, see if it's right for you. All right, let's look at the 5 aspects of conscious eating, which I believe is the way for us out of this. Okay, number 1, it's intentional. In other words, there are 4 aspects: decision, vision, action, adaptation. Number 1, ask yourself, what's really important for me right now? What do I want to achieve right now? What's important to me? So for me, for instance, everything I eat, when it comes to conscious eating, I'm looking at one thing in particular, and that's slowing down the aging process. So I'm looking all the time about, how do I fuel my body with foods that are not inflammatory? How do I fuel myself with foods that are nutrient dense and rich? And we're talking in particular right now, I'm looking at sleep. So I'm looking at foods that contain lots of tryptophan that can help me sleep really well, because sleep is so important in this slowing down the aging process. Also, how do I fuel my body to give myself plenty of energy, in particular looking at bone density and bone health. So that's my decision. The minute you make that decision, of course, your brain goes searching for ways to make it happen. It takes over, right? That's where the intuitive part starts. So create the decision, make a decision, create the vision. What does it look like? For me, it's looking at, okay, how do I want to be in my 70s? What do I want to look like in my 70s? And really, what do I want to feel like, more than what do I want to look like? What do I want to feel like in my 70s? So then the next one is commit to action. So how do I make this happen? What are my daily steps to make this happen? And number 4 is prepare for adaptation. Okay, so not every day is ever going to be perfect, but how do I adapt to that? And usually it's just getting back to the principle of conscious eating, which is going back to the decision. All right, second aspect is intuitive. Now, there's 4 aspects to this. So I now allow myself to eat anything I want. That's a key indicator, because for many women, we have restricted ourselves for so long because we've put our faith in others, put our faith in another program, keto works for some people, paleo works for some people, veganism works for some people, vegetarian works for somebody else. And we're pescatarians. So what works for us is mostly vegetarian, nutrient-dense food with lots of fats, avocado, coconut oil, olive oil, nuts. Those are really important for us right now, Jerry and I, and we really respond well to that type of diet. But that doesn't make people who eat meat wrong. So you may need, but it's when you get intuitive, okay? I now allow myself to eat anything, and take those rules right out of your head. What does my body really feel like? The ask part. What does my body, not my head, not my head, my body, because the head is not where your intuition exists. Remember, it's in your gut. I now accept this choice without judgment. Okay, so right now, what do I feel like? And, you could have a day and say, you know what? I just feel like an almond croissant. And that's okay. I'm not going to judge myself for wanting an almond croissant. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to really enjoy it. For me, Saturdays. I love Saturdays because we always go for a coffee somewhere. And either I try to look for one or two things. One, lemon meringue pie, because that is my favorite. Absolutely, of all desserts of all time, lemon meringue pie. Our homestay daughter used to buy them for me all the time. Sally, she said, you like lemon meringue pie? Yes, Sally, I do. Her name was Sally too. Lemon meringue pie or a gluten-free chocolate brownie. That's what I have on a Saturday. And I'm going to absolutely enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy every last thing. And the fourth one is acknowledge. So I now allow myself to do anything I want. What does my body really feel like? I'm going to accept and honor in these choices without judgment. Number 4, how does this make my body feel? And sometimes a bit, it makes me feel like garbage. I'm low in energy. I don't feel good afterwards. If it's gluten, it might be, you've got bloating, indigestion. Acknowledge that, because that's the intuitive part. That's the message your body is sending you. And every time I see an ad for heartburn medication or, those heartburn tablets, it's always preceded by somebody eating a hamburger the size of my handbag. Yes, you'll have heartburn if you eat that thing. So acknowledge how certain foods make you feel. It doesn't mean you can't allow yourself, but it's a choice. So when I'm acknowledging how certain foods make me feel, like one day, like pasta and dairy are not good for me. Last Friday, I have to tell you, had a really tough day last Friday, and we ended up having pizza that Jerry made with anchovies and black olives, red wine. Red wine. Oh, yeah, so pizza has gluten and dairy, red and sugar, salt, red wine, and we had a sugary dessert. I felt like just awful the next day. Can I tell you? Awful. Will I do that again? No, I won't. Am I going to beat myself up for it? No, I'm not. And right then, I really felt like a pizza. But, will I feel like one this week? No. I don't like that feeling the next day. It's a choice, right? Number 3. So this is where the informed part, this is where I think it's really important. This is where conscious eating really takes over. Knowledge, nutrition, non-judgment. So be open to ideas about nutrition. I listen to nutrition podcasts and read books about nutrition all the time. And everybody has an opinion, so I balance up what's right for me. I'm really loving, for those who like to listen to podcasts, Sean Stevenson's The Model Health Show. Love it. He has phenomenal guests on. Also love Chalene Johnson, the Chalene Show. Really good people she interviews about nutrition and health and sleep. And so listen to lots of those. So you're building your knowledge bank, but you're also not judging. So if you like particularly to follow, say, a keto, you want to follow that, get into the non-judgment of yourself in that. Okay, so, I want to adapt that, but that's not exactly how I feel. Remember, this is getting back to intuitive eating. Step 4, this is where I believe the intuitive eating part has been hijacked. It's introspective. So you look at the past stories that you told yourself, your present beliefs about you, your value and worth, and future thinking. And I know when people have come onto the Stronger, Leaner, Lighter program, one of the weeks we deal with this future thinking. It's never going to work for me. I've done it so often. What if I give up? What if this doesn't work? Blah, 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 blah. The stories, right? That stops you trusting your intuition. I'm going to get on to number 5 in a minute. I'm just going to have a look at these comments. I like the way you're thinking. Thank you, Katarina. Absolutely. So important, all the non-judgment in all points. Absolutely. Non-judgment of ourselves and non-judgment of everybody else right now. Everybody's doing their best at this time. But what's going on? We have to let go of that judgment. Non-judgment makes you a better person, just slightly. All right, last one. We're just running out of time. I want to get through this. So let's go again. We're intentional, intuitive, informed. We're talking about conscious eating, introspective. That's being past stories. What were I told about my weight? Chop on this again. What was I told about my weight? What's my present beliefs about myself? What's my future thinking? Looking at all that, and we use EFT, of course, and meditation for that. And number 5, probably key element here, right? Plan. Okay, so if you want to eat intuitively, it's really important that you plan, because if you're too hungry, your blood sugar levels drop too low, you're in fear, your anxiety, and you will make choices based on something you can grab quickly. But on Sunday, and this is when we do it before we go to the markets, okay, what's our meal plan for the week? Because right now I'm feeling comfortable, I'm feeling relaxed, I'm feeling not in fear. We're walking around the markets, we're talking about to the organic farmers. What do I want? How do I want to fuel my body? I'm listening to my body at that point, right? Because I'm not in fear and stress and overwhelmed and starving. I'm totally together on it, usually on Sunday morning. And what do I really feel like? Okay, so this week we decided on some beautiful spinach and mushrooms from the organic farm this week. So we made a spinach and mushroom quiche, which has lasted us 2 nights. We got some beautiful broccoli and cauliflower from the organic market. So tonight we're having a vegetarian curry. Again, will last us 2 nights. And of course, we always have fish. So there we've got 5 nights meals planned out because we made the decision when we weren't feeling stressed. And we're checking with my body at that point. So during that, because we've got everything planned. And prepared. So preparing is really important. I like to make my almond smoothie, my protein smoothie first thing in the morning, and then I'll eat it when my intermittent fasting hour is finished. Because I know if I have to stand there and make it, I won't make it because I'm too busy. The next one is pace. Slow down. You're eating. Most people who struggle with their weight eat too fast. When you eat too fast, the hormones that regulate your hunger and your fullness feeling, so ghrelin and leptin, especially leptin, you're not giving it time to kick in until you've had enough to eat. And I often challenge the gals on the Stronger, Leaner, Lighter program to take 20 minutes to eat. Take 20 minutes to eat. Slow down. So you are tasting the food, you're enjoying the food. And again, that leads into the last one, presence. Be present. That does not mean sitting there and not doing anything. That means when every time you take a bite of food, you're actually enjoying it. I love, one of my favorite things to do is just kind of give a little bit of gratitude to the farmers who've grown this. We had this most beautiful broccoli, and we got talking to the farmer who grew it, and he was so excited about this broccoli. He said it'll taste different from anything you get in the markets. It'll just be, and it was beautiful. Everything he said about it, the way it cooked, the way it tasted was just beautiful. So being present and giving thought. Thanks. All right, my lovely friends, let me know if any of this is really true for you, and if you're going to see if you can practice that conscious eating. I hope you've written all these notes down, but really, give yourself a break. Give yourself a break this next couple of months. Does not mean choosing foods that are going to increase your visceral fat. If you make that decision that you want to be healthy through this time and you're going to look after your own health, then the decisions you make help booster up that decision. And that's when your intuition, when you make a decision, that's when your intuition swings into place. Unless you make the decision, your intuition doesn't know how to guide you. Marie, lockdown number 5. I know, Marie. Oh, my God. Definitely the fear can and does take hold and cancels out intuition. All the uncertainty and fear, it becomes overwhelming. Important to plan and prepare meals and be mindful, being present, eating slowly, and ask myself, what do I want to? What does my body need? I need to remember to listen to my intuition and trust the wiser part. Oh, thanks, Marie. And look, can I just say, Marie, I really feel for you guys at the moment. Honestly, I have family. My whole family live in Melbourne. And what you guys are going through now is freaking hard. And whatever you need, if you need to reach out to me, please, I'm here. I can't even begin to know how hard this is. Number 5. And, I'm connected with a lot of small business people in Melbourne who are just struggling. So I'm here. So Marie, if you ever need help, please reach out. I'm here to help. I just hope we're thinking of you. All of us up here are thinking of you. And we've got a couple of smug premiers at the moment, but that's not the point. It's not like that. We don't feel like that at all. I just can't wait for Melbourne to open up. I didn't see my dad for 18 months last time. It was really hard to leave, and who knows when I get down there again. So I hope you've had a wonderful, some real insights into this. And as Marie said, really trusting, what does my body feel like, planning it, preparing, being really mindful of when you are slipping into fear, and just listen to your body, what's going on with that, and using EFT, of course. Thank you, everybody, for being on the show today. I hope this has helped in some way. I'm really passionate about this whole concept of putting ourselves first, making sure we are healthy. It's the way we survive this. And eating the right foods really does connect you with your intuition, because if you're eating too much sugar, too much simple carbohydrates, you just can't connect. You just can't. It's too hard. And again, just being mindful of that and honoring that. And that doesn't mean you can't have yummy things like bread out of the oven. Not at all. Doesn't mean any of that. It just means ensuring that you are placing your health and well-being first. All right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you next week on the Stronger, Leaner, Lighter show. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your comments. I really do appreciate them. I love the fact that you're here every Wednesday. And I will see you this time next week on the Stronger, Leaner, Lighter show. Who knows what our world would look like by then. Okay, thank you, everybody, and I will talk with you soon. Bye for now.